Good morning to the gamers. We are meeting here back once again. Pardon the frog in my throat right now. I'm still overcoming a little bit of my sickness from the past couple of weeks, but I've got to talk about this new Project Rebalance news post that Jagex dropped yesterday. I know I'm a little late. Now, I'm going to be honest with everyone here. It's going to get pretty freaking wet and wild here. There's going to be a lot of numbers, a lot of stats. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as I can, not only for you, but also for me and my tiny brain. When you think of old school RuneScape, you think of I swing a weapon, I do damage. My weapon, my gear setup has a set value. Whatever I smack them with is the damage that's going to be done. Well, Jagex is wanting to implement sort of these extra lines of defense, you could say, in making it to where every sort of weapon has its own special sort of attack stat, and normally NPCs have just like a certain magic defense, range defense, or melee defense. Well, no longer, buckaroo. So, their focus for this blog is on rolling out changes to NPC defense, including adjustments to their existing defense bonus properties and values, as well as adding in some new defense types in the form of split up range defense and elemental weaknesses for magic. Not only are they easy to understand, but they add in a lot of variety, which is what I think some old school RuneScape gamers are searching for. The ability to use different things. Our final goal is a little less broad than the other two, and that is to make elemental spells, so like air, earth, water, and fire, have a more defined use case across existing and future content. So, for example, when you first start off as a lowly wizard in Lumbridge, you have access to like Air Strike, and then what do? You get to like level 24 magic, and you go straight to Fire Strike. You skip past Earth, Water, you go straight to the big one because Fire is just the best spell. Here are their goals with this Project Rebalance for NPC defense: to provide us with further ways to aid in future balancing, so i.e. power creep, allowing us to meaningfully expand on reward spaces and future updates, so we're not just having the next best thing after the next best thing. And to give elemental spells a more defined use case across existing content. So to make these other spells that nobody ever freaking uses, to actually make them have a use. So here's what they plan to do and how they plan to do it. So they're going to implement elemental weaknesses, supplement those weaknesses with elemental spell scaling, exaggerate or make them more existing weaknesses, and implement a new split ranged weakness. So for example, like light, standard, and heavy. So starting off with elemental weaknesses, which they say is already a stat that actually exists on a handful of NPCs in the game. Didn't freaking know that. Denoting which style of spell they're weak to. Currently, it's just a flat out double damage bonus. So if a NPC happens to be weak to water, instead of doing 3 damage for your max hit, it does a 6. That's fast math, but that's just the very general basics. So for every point of elemental weakness that an NPC has, your spell of that element will gain a plus 1% accuracy and plus 1% damage. So for example, casting Fire Surge on an NPC who displays a weakness to fire will give you a 50% to both. So they would like to let players choose to use whichever spell they want, earth, water, fire, air, on any NPC that it's weak to, rather than just defaulting to fire in all scenarios, since, like I said, it's just the better spell. So we'd like to have each tier for an elemental spell. So for Strike, Bolt, Blast, Wave, and Surge, they would all share the same max hit, up to a cap of whatever the existing damage is. That is very interesting, if you ask me. Very interessant. Right? I'm kind of scratching my damn head on that. I'm scratching the bald on my head right now because that is what's interesting. The fact that they would all share the same max hit depending on not really just the gear you're using, but just the amount of damage per spell depending on the weakness. A player with level 5 magic would have a max hit of 4 for both Wind Strike, Water Strike. Since Water Strike is the highest tier spell unlocked, it has a max hit of 4. Okay? If the player ascends to the heights of a level 13 magic, then Wind, Water, Earth, and Fire Strike would all have the same max hit of 8 because, are you following me still, gamers? Fire Strike is the unlocked max spell, which has a max hit of 8. So no matter what, depending on the highest level of spell you have unlocked, is going to be whether or not its max damage is 4, 8, and so on. And then you can choose which spell to use on the NPC depending on what they are weakest against. So, like Jagex wants you to, it's going to give you that variety, it's going to give you that choice, the freedom of choice, right? That's what we want. That's what we gamers want. We want to choose how we murder. So, this would apply to all elemental tiers, so Strike, Bolt, Blast Wave, and Surge. But none of these tiers would scale past their current max hit. So meaning even at 99 magic, you'd still have a max hit of 8 with any of the Strike spells. So you're not going to be able to just use Magic Fire Strike and save your runes. You're going to have to still use the big boy runes if you still want to do big boy hits. Look what they've done to my boy.
Look how they massacred my boy.
The Tome of Fire or the Tome of Water. Now, I don't have the Tome of Fire on my main account. I do have the Tome of Water, though. Here's what they're planning to do to them, though. The Tome of Fire was designed at a time where its goal was to make the standard spellbook more relevant. Ooh, things that aged poorly, 2024. And it succeeded in doing so to some extent, only for fire spells, and while the tome was equipped. So, with the aim of these changes being to make elemental spells more relevant throughout your entire progression, rather than just depending so heavily on a single item, they're going to reduce the damage bonus from the Tome of Fire and Tome of Water down to 10%. For their respective elements, which still makes them best in slot for their target use. Look what they've done. Look what they've done to my boy. In PvP, the existing damage buffs wouldn't be changed because players themselves don't even have an elemental weakness, so reducing the effectiveness of these tomes isn't quite necessary, they say, as Magic struggles to compete with any of the other styles in a PvP scenario. Before we go any further, there's a couple of examples I want to take a look at before we jump into the next part of the blog. They give you a few examples here of some of the buffs and some of the weaknesses they're planning to include on just random NPCs. So one example they give us is the Giant Mole. And if you look down here in his elemental weakness status, they've given him now a 50% water weakness. So I have geared up here in the beta world, and we're going to see if we can catch me some killer mole, some giant mole. He's not a killer. He's going to be killed though. All right, and there's our mole boy. I have now cast it. Oh, someone's been murdered. Are you? Come on. There's 22 people in this beta world, and you're telling me that someone has already been here? Maybe I should be, and then he's gone. Okay. Well, that didn't work like I wanted it to. How has someone already been here? How the hell is that? There's 22 people in this beta world, by the way. Hey, I didn't say you could move, buddy. I didn't say you could move. Hold on. Entangle him. Entangle his ass. Entangle his big ass. Entangle him, dude. Oh, he's already frozen. I don't know how to play this game. Here we go. And boom. A 3? A 3? A 26. There we go. I'm a 99 magic, by the way. I set my skills. I set them back. I promise. Now, it seems to be, again, I don't know, I don't have much, are you kidding me? I don't have much familiarity with this guy. Quit splashing the entangle, dude, because I never played this game before. I don't know how to play the game. Oh, there's a 40. Okay, so it does have potential to rinse his ass. It does. You just have to get lucky. Oh, there's a 37. Okay. Now, there's one last thing we need to talk about here today, and that is the ranged defense types that they're planning on changing as well. While factors like the target's magic level, hit points, overall defense level, and etc. play a role in distinguishing what you're going to use, whether it's the Twisted Bow, the Toxic Blowpipe, the Zarite Crossbow, or the Bofa. Ranged defense isn't a relevant distinguishing factor. It doesn't really make a damn difference. We'd like to take the same approach as Melee and have a split range defense type, so 3 separate categories, allowing you to have different weapons for different scenarios, giving you, say it with me class, that element of choice. So they're changing it, or wanting to change it, into 3 separate accounts. Heavy for like bolts and javelins, standard for like arrows, so bow of Fahrenheit, crystal bow, magical arrows are still arrows they say, and then light, so darts, knives, and other weaponry like the thrown axes. Alright, well that's pretty much going to do it for today, everyone. That is a very quick run through of just some of the things that they were talking about and that what they plan to do for the defense NPC rebalance. I know I kind of went through it kind of quickly. There was a lot of big nerd numbers. I tried to cut out to make it as simple as possible. So if it seems kind of all over the place, I do apologize. I tried to showcase some of the different statistics that they had planned, mainly for the elemental weaknesses. I think that's the most exciting because that does add a lot of variety to not only methods of training, but just to be able to use, different combats and different styles to make the game more unique, I suppose, and just to kind of give gamers that choice that they've been wanting. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching and listening and just for being here. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for subscribing if you enjoyed the video. I so appreciate that, everyone. I am trying my best to just be as informative as I can and at the same time maybe make you smile because I can't make my damn self smile. See you next time.